square and the shared use parking that is located on the square. They've also reached out and visited with the First Baptist Church, who has agreed to allow spillover parking in their adjacent parking. Other businesses in this immediate vicinity include a spa, a chiropractor, and a law office. The applicants did supply a business plan that works to address the other biggest complaint there, which is regard to noise issues that might be generated with this type of business. So among the things that they did list in the plan would be noise reduction wall panels, noise reduction ceiling tiles, spray foam insulation, and roll-up flooring built in the sound. So the Planning and Zoning Commission had a well-attended meeting last night, just like the City Commission today. They took all of these things into consideration, and ultimately the Planning and Zoning Commission did vote to allow the specific use permit for an initial 2-year period, contingent upon with the stipulation that all soundproofing measures outlined in that plan be installed. So all those things I cited previously. So with this recommendation for approval from the Planning and Zoning Commission, I wanted to point out a couple of things. That with the SUP process, it really becomes incumbent upon that applicant and that business to be fully in compliant with that SUP and with those stipulations at all times. In this case, the biggest piece of that being with the soundproofing measures that they're really going to need to address those to ensure that they're in compliance with that. So, the other piece that I want to point out to you guys that you guys ultimately make the decision on whether to accept that planning and zoning recommendation. However, it does take a supermajority, so that would be 4 votes, to either alter that recommendation or to overturn it. So with that, I am happy to answer any questions. I know there's the applicants are here as well as other folks that wish to address you guys. But I can answer any questions that you guys might have.
Is there a copy of the plan for sound?
In the agenda packet, here's their business plan here, where they do talk about some of the noise testing. If you go down, here's all of the items that were listed that they are going to be installing for the noise reduction.
This is a really dumb question, but is the specific use permit for the business or the address?
That's a great question. That's not a dumb question at all. The specific use permit is for the business. So it's not for the address. So it's for a 2-year term. After 2 years, they would have to come back and they would have to reapply for that.
So if they change locations on the square, this would move
it
with
would
it?
not follow with it.
It would not.
It's for the property.
It is for the
Well,
property. However, when that business ceases to function and operate, that specific use permit will go away as well. So if somebody else wanted to come back in here and put it, they would have to go through this.
So if another business wanted to come into the same place, they would have to get a new permit, or if this business moved to another location on the square, they would have to get another permit. Okay.
It's issued to these owners.
Correct.
At this address.
Yes.
Okay.
The P and Z, were you there then?
Yes, sir.
Any comments or anything you'd relay on from P and Z?
There was, I think, a really good, robust discussion about it. It was voted on 4-2, with 4 obviously voting in favor, 2 against, and we have 1 that abstained from voting. I think really it was the soundproofing. I think the parking is what it is in the downtown area. I think there are some significant concerns with parking, but I think it's going to be pretty true for any business that goes in there. Like I said, if this is in a different zoning district, parking minimums are going to be the same for a local retailer, of which we have a lot on the square as with this business. So 1 space for every 300 square foot. This facility is about 3,300 square foot, so you're talking 10 to 11 spaces.
But being on the square, that changes.
But on the square, there are no parking minimums. That's correct. In that central business district, parks. Yep. The other piece of it, obviously, was noise reduction. Is there a good way to test that? Is there a good way to trial run that without spending all the money to do that? I think the P&Z that made the recommendation felt like the things that are in this proposal that are up on your screen here do address those things. Like I said, John and I were actually getting ready for the meeting today. We reached out to the police chief to kind of talk through different scenarios. And he talked about a very similar situation that he has going on right now in town. Where both of the businesses are operating and they're there by right. So they don't have to go through the specific use permit process. And figuring out how to resolve this, right? We do have a noise ordinance. What is incumbent upon the neighboring businesses? What's intrusive to them? How can we get these guys to an agreement? In this case, it's actually a little bit easier in that this is a specific use permit. And so if they're not in compliance with a specific use permit, the SUP, that SUP can be pulled and revoked. It is a permanent process.
So you're stating that 3 months in, if there was issues and concern and documented issues, that could be readdressed again.
It could be used.
Who would readdress that?
It becomes a code enforcement issue at that point.
So if there were multiple violations on the sound, is that what you're saying?
Correct.
That's when it would come to us.
Code enforcement, so code enforcement would address that. Would it come back here?
I'll defer to maybe Chuck on that. piece of
How would
it.
that, play out, Chuck?
So potentially would, if the permit was revoked.
If there's repeated.
It would not go back
violations
through,
and-
it would not go back through DNC.
Come straight here.
Do we have a specific number that's required before? It would be like, if we had so many violations, that's when we would reconsider. Is there
No,
something written
I-
anywhere?
I don't think there's a number. John and I went through the noise ordinance and we didn't get a number. I think we were kind of
Right.
hoping to have a number there.
So if there were significant amounts starting to come in, we would,
And
or
it's
in a
not-
short period of time.
It's with all violations throughout the city if you're not working to address those
Mhm.
things.
Becomes a municipal court issue. Chuck?
All code violations are potentially municipal court issues. I mean, anytime you have a nuisance ordinance violation or zoning violation, it potentially could be filed in municipal court.
Those, if you remember the history of that ordinance, you all, Joe Taco and Buffs had speakers outside their establishments, and neighbors in those areas were concerned with that noise. And so the noise ordinance was written really with that in mind, an exterior and outside type situation. It wasn't necessarily written for an inside violation. It does address vibration, which is just as important. A thumping or as opposed to a loud noise. A continual thumping or a vibration could be as big a concern or as big an issue with someone. But it does state that we have a measurable, we have a way to measure that volume and how much of an irritant that is.
And so the ordinance addresses property line,
Correct.
measuring at the property line.
Correct. And so that would be the other side of the wall, which is where the other businesses would be. I think the key to that too is as Dustin has mentioned, is the fact that the situation that the police department is currently dealing with, they're speaking to people, just trying to get folks to work that out between them. Because both of them have a right to be where they are. In this case, you all are being asked to grant the right for that business to be there, which means you still have control. You've granted that right. That is a right that can be pulled back to, if they're unable to meet that standard.
All right, any other questions then for Dustin? With that, I think we'll go ahead and open the public hearing then. And a couple of things, we do ask that you limit that to your discussion to 3 minutes. So if you would, state your name, address, and then in the essence that we do have a number of folks signed in, we'll try to keep to 3 minutes. Megan, can you help me? All right, very good. Okay, very good. Well, the first person that I have here on the list is Caleb Ott. I'm good with that. So you're John then?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next one is Dr. Carson.
Good evening, mayors, commissioners. Thanks for letting me speak. I've been at 1613 4th Avenue. My name is Russell Kirshen. I'm a chiropractor. I'm in 1613 4th Avenue, which is neighbors to this proposed area for about 30 years now. And it's, we haven't had this come up yet because before that, it was not owned by somebody who was proposing something such as this. In a chiropractor's office, you want quiet, you want peaceful, you want it to be a solemn time, you want to be able to speak to your doctor and not be interrupted. The biggest thing for me would be the noise. I see lots of money being spent up there on noise reduction, but what I don't see is what is actually considered noisy. What's noisy to you or me or them might be different. So what is the point of noisy? Is it my tolerance? Is it theirs? What is it going to be? My business has been there for 30 years, and it would be detrimental, just flat out. I don't think you can put enough noise reduction for 10 to 12-year-olds banging on walls and making noise. I just don't think it's possible. And if you do grant this without more studying, they've got 2 years of free reign to do whatever they need to do there to test this hypothesis. If it's not good enough, there's not been any type of scientific proof. There hasn't been any type of testing that I know of. There's been promises, and that's appreciated. Trust me, that's appreciated. You're trying. I see that. But what happens when all that's put in place and we still have a noise level that's just not acceptable for a doctor's office? The other thing would be parking. I've got people that are hurt, that are in pain, they limp. I've got elderly, and I know we really can't even claim parking where we're at. And it's nice to have a few spaces out front where my older patients can find those places. It's never guaranteed, and I understand that, and so do they. But if you increase with this many people showing up at any given time to this other establishment, my patients are going to be resorted to walking across the street, 4th Avenue, which is State Highway 217, which is very busy. I'd rather not have to play a game of Frogger to come see the chiropractor. Thank you.
Mr. Esther, can I ask him a question?
Sure.
What are your hours of operation?
I work 3 days out of the week. I stay till 6.
Okay.
During the summer times, though, which I know will be a high volume time for them, that's I'm there all day, morning and afternoons. So,
Thank you.
The next one we have is Echo Sibley.
Hello, as I said, my name is Echo Sibley. My address is 1702 8th Avenue here in Canyon. I am a resident of Canyon. I'm a parent, and I serve as an assistant professor I'm the academic coordinator of the theater program at West Texas A&M University. I am here to express my support for the special use permit submitted by Bot and to establish an indoor bounce house facility. This type of business would address a clear gap in our community by providing a safe, engaging space for children of all ages. I believe it would be a valuable addition for local families, while also it would help keep spending for this type of activity in Canyon rather than Amarillo. Additionally, visitors to Ms. Bott's business will naturally be exposed to other businesses on the square, which can further support and strengthen the success of our local economy. I recognize that there are some concerns that have been raised about regarding noise and parking. Based on my own experience renting bounce houses for my daughter from the Botts, I have not found the sound of the equipment to be overly disruptive, although I do acknowledge that the sound of children's laughter can be loud, but it's also very joyful. As for parking, this is an ongoing challenge in the square area regardless of the type of business. Restaurants and coffee shops already contend with similar limitations. I live just a few blocks from the square, and both parking restraints and general noise are consistent aspects in that environment. For that reason, to me, it does not seem reasonable to deny this opportunity based on issues that are not unique to this proposal. I have known the Vaught family for 5 years and can speak to their character as kind, thoughtful, generous friends and neighbors. I am confident that they would run this business with professionalism and care, continuing the positive reputation that they have built in our community. Thank you.
Next is David Nation.
Dear Commissioners, thank you for speaking. I'm a resident of Canyon at 1545 South Mesa. I was a fireman for the County of Los Angeles. I was also a bus driver for a semester. I was a retired science teacher from NSD. If there's anything I do know, it's children. And children they're the big variable in the question. And my concern is for the children in this neighborhood to be walking on the streets. When a fire truck takes off from behind the building, the big draw is going to be for the kids to go run out there and see. As a fireman, I saw that all the time. And at the parades, you can see kids run out to the fire trucks because it is so exciting. And a lot of them want to be firemen. And I've seen that, and I've seen them come right up to the trucks. That's a big problem if they're responding to an emergency. And again, the kid may see the truck, but the driver may not see the truck. I haven't heard those kind of concerns addressed. The other issue is when schools are in session, there is somebody usually at a crosswalk to walk the kids across and make sure that the traffic stops. Yesterday, that concern was not addressed. It was like, oh, well, Canyon drivers are the way they are. Okay, that's fine and great, but it doesn't take care of a lawsuit from somebody who's texting on their phone, driving down the road, and a kid who is overtaken by the noise and the lights and everything else that's going on the street, and they don't see the car coming, and the next thing you know, you have a dead child. And that is a very good possibility with the amount of kids they're wanting to have in that business. That's a very real concern. As a school teacher, I was always cautioned to watch where my kids were at. Do they have a person that's going to stand outside and make sure that the kids coming in or the kids going out are not going to be running into the street at a fire truck or somebody that they know? Are parents going to drop their kids off in the middle of the street and allow them to run from the middle of the street to the door? I've not heard those concerns taken care of. That's a very real concern. The other issue with the noise levels, again, was just briefly mentioned here. The question is not for the blowers. The blowers they're at a constant rate. What is going to be loud are the kids screaming. And if you've been to a family reunion, or if you've even worked at church and you've been around little kids, kids can generate an awful lot of noise, and they hit peaks. It's peak, 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 and it's constant. That has not been addressed, and I don't care how much soundproofing equipment you can put in there, you're going to get a noise level that's going to be penetrating both front and back doors, because those windows in front, they may be going to be replaced. I don't know, but again, front and back, that noise is going to go right out into the street. So especially when you open the door. So those things are not being addressed. I see those as very big concerns for the community. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next is Mark Wilson.
about 19, my home, involves substantially around the county restoration courthouse. I'm time on that, I'm city minded. I do respect the boss desire and applaud them for having the desire, and I've agreed now very much from the bounce house. I just think it's the right place for us, the right study practice conducted to confirm that. I may have some handouts I'd like to hand out. First is a comparison of common sounds derived from merchants, sound devices, and also ocean. I'd also like to hand out a presentation of the 100 partners, which are a company that, and there's many of them, have studies for this type of analysis. According to the OSHA information in that one handout, a standard blower versus a handle of different sizes. The standard blower will estimate about 75 to 85 decibels. One blower. We're contemplating 4 blowers. One of these blowers, or excuse me, 75 to 85 decibels, is equivalent to a battery-operated leaf blower or heavy tractor. Multiply that by 4. Add the sounds of the children and peaks, as someone spoke. Add the concept, I've not seen an indoor bounce house yet, I've searched online, I think it's on their Facebook as well. It may not be in their facility, but a lot of them utilize music, which is great for those environments. It's perfect fun for everyone. Not so good for our firm, our law firm. I have 9 offices abutting the property to the east of this project. Of course, Dr. Person is on the west directly. They're only separated by a concrete cylinder block. And while they may help a little bit with the sound barrier concept, I understand they propose some certain changes to that and remediation. Cinder blocks actually do conduct vibratory feelings and sound in its own that actually are not so produced. All I'm having to say, with this being said, is that at 90 decibels, it's going to be OSHA becomes potentially involved. And at 90 decibels plus, just to give you an idea, OSHA requires, if they're subject to OSHA, that there be hearing protection for the people working in that environment for a sustained 8-hour period of time. Their testimony is that they're going to run predominantly at times when we are not there, which is not true. In the back of my office, I have a conference room for 10 people for 20 years now. I've conducted depositions, mediations, conferences with clients, and more recent since COVID, actually more proceedings in that room. That won't work if their remediation isn't effective, and I don't know if it is or it's not. Without the condition,
If you'd wrap it, go ahead and wrap it
I
up.
need to wrap it up.
thank you, I appreciate the consideration. I would like to see the court actually do an impact study or request one, not one that's full-blown as has been done at some points in times, one that addresses the issue of noise. If you want them to address the issue of traffic, of course, consideration. Whenever we have that many, and I will wrap it up, whenever we have that much activity going in such a confined area where business has been in operation for collectively for 50 years, I simply ask the court, I would love for them to be there. I want them to be there the right way, come with information for this commission to decide whether that's the appropriate response. There's a lot of places out there. This is right smack down.
Thank you, Mark. Next is Barry Rampy.
Thank you for your time. I do read from Mark. All of our insurance offices are right on the wall next to both place. Just when they were doing a little bit of work in there, just a drop of a hammer we could hear in our offices. So my main concern is a tenant renting from ours, it's just the noise level. I'm all for them having a business. I want them to be successful. I just don't know if this is the right location with all the professional offices surrounding us. Appreciate y'all taking that into consideration. Maybe doing, as Mark proposed, as some type of impact study, just to see if this noise level would affect the business, surrounding business. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Barry. All right, next up is Joni Wilson.
I'm Mark's wife and property owner with him. I've been in commercial and residential real estate since the 1980s. I have worked with owners that have dealt with these sort of situations with their tenants and noise issues. I would love to have a bouncy house here, but I'm surprised that there's not another venue that would support and house the parking and issues that firemen have with fire issues, with parking, with noise, with our tenants, our business owners that have been there for years now and love where they are. I would hate for them to have to get up and move out of where they are because of the noise. That would cost them money just to accommodate a 2-year test for a noise situation. And what do we do if that test doesn't work and all of a sudden we're out tenants? We have no income coming in because our tenants have left us. And these are people that work here in Canyon and have lived here in Canyon and want to stay where they are and not have to move out because if a test doesn't work on a beautiful place for children that maybe we couldn't find another spot for. Thank you.
John. Next up is Matthew Johnson.
Hello, my name is Matthew Johnson. I live at 10 Macy Lane, Canyon East. And I'm here in support of the special use permit filed by Kilowatt for the indoor bouncy house amusement space. I've lived here in Canyon since 2014, and so is when I moved here. I'm a parent, my son goes to Canyon, and now I'm a police officer. So, I believe that this business will fill a void in the city. It additionally brings safe, interactive environment for the children of a wide range of ages, and it'll benefit the community as a whole. This will keep the money flowing into Canyon instead of to Amarillo. So I believe keeping stuff here local helps out. When I was younger, I walked all over this town on foot, going from on the square and going to the soda shop as a kid. So I understand that the part of safety wise, but at the same time it was great. It was a good time for me as a kid, and it was safe when I did it. So I know times are growing, but I also know that Kayla and John also take pride in safety for kids, as well as just the safe space for them when they're there. So I also understand the noise complaints that I've heard, the parking concerns that other people have brought up. I've rented from Kayla and John before multiple times, multiple occasions in the Canyon East area. And when it's outside, yes, you can hear when you're outside a little bit, and then you walk inside, it muffles it tremendously. Also, I mean, mine's just a regular house in city block, and I've never had any complaints from any of the neighbors, and most of my neighbors would tell me so. So, the blower itself, man, as disturbing as it's loud as it blows in and everything, but the kids yelling inside the bouncy house, like I said, I've never had an issue with it getting so loud it's just deafening. As for the parking issue on the square, no matter what downtown here in Canyon is on the square, has always had a problem with parking ever since I've been here, even as a kid. All the Sacamarans, Joe Taco, Palace Coffee, just a couple of examples. I do not believe it is fair to preclude the business venture based on the city's parking space alone. So, and I have full confidence that they will operate the business in a professional manner as they hold themselves now and for their future for the business. It supports and reflects the values of our city, just as they've been doing for the past 6 years. And so I appreciate them doing this. All the kids that we've always had over, just absolutely love it and have never had a problem with it. So thank you.
All right. Next we have David Grotman.
I don't really have a dog in this fight. Although I think actually the Vaughts, I love the idea. I've got grandchildren and would love to take advantage of this, of the venue and spend time downtown afterwards. I was at the meeting yesterday though, and I think there were some things left very unclear. So what I'd like to do is give you a few quantitative type things to think about. I have an industrial engineering degree from Texas Tech and 35 years of experience in manufacturing operations. So I don't claim to be a sound expert, but have spent some time doing, making sure, I'm sorry.
In loud places.
Doing OSHA monitoring in the workplace to making sure, somebody mentioned the 90 decibel level. After the conversations yesterday, I have no doubt that the venue will be able to keep the sound under the 75 decibels in the adjoining areas. But however, 75 decibels is a very low bar in terms of, it's not a low noise, it's a low bar. So when I left here yesterday, several of us went to Joe Taco. This is a quantitative example, there's a point, okay? I have a decibel meter on my phone, and I took a 9-minute survey or sample of Joe Taco's. We're at the bar area in the back. It was a Monday afternoon, there wasn't a lot going on, there was probably 20 people in the bar. We weren't having to talk excessive, sometimes if you're in there, if you've been there on a busy night, you kind of got to yell. It wasn't like that last night. The point being, I took a sample for 9 minutes. I got a level of a minimum of 66, a maximum of 92, and an average of 77 decibels. So basically what you're saying with a 75 decibel ordinance is that I could have Joe Taco's bar in these people's offices and still meet the code. I just said, I don't think they're gonna have a problem staying under that, so let me give you a few other references. I got home last night and I took a sample in our living room with the TV on. TV's probably from here to that wall. We're not hard of hearing. We don't turn it up loud. So the TV room had a minimum of 32 and a maximum of 52 with an average of 42 decibels. So even at that level, you can see that could be a very disruptive amount of noise in a neighboring office. That was a quick 3. Can I have 30 more seconds?
Go ahead and wrap it.
Okay. My wife and I sleep in the bedroom with a box fan. There's different types of noise. There is clean noise and there's dirty noise. Box fan in the room, 48 to 51 with an average of 49. That's higher than the TV noise. So I think more work needs to be done to evaluate what the acceptable levels of noise would be in these adjoining offices. Thank you.
All right, then we have, Gallegos. I apologize for.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your time being here today to discuss today's agenda of rezoning at 1615 4th Avenue. My name is Guillermo Gallegos. I live at 5707 4th Avenue here in Canyon, Texas. I am originally from Olson, Texas, and I moved here in 2020 for my collegiate studies at WT, West Texas A&M University, and have been a resident of Canyon since. As well, I have been an employee for 3 years for the prospective party and approval for the rezoning of the property. I would like to start off by saying I love this town. It reminds me of home with a friendly and welcoming community and the small town spirit, with also the opportunities of having bigger city-like events and celebrations. I've been under the employment of Mr. and Ms. Vaught with their businesses since the 2023 fiscal year. Among my time with my employers, I have come to the realization of how much time, dedication, and effort they implement with the proper and professional manners of maintaining and safely operating a business. Throughout my years of employment, I couldn't tell you most of what I've been drilled to know and understand is that safety is above all the number one priority of Mr. and Mrs. Vaught. With every order and every unit of a bounce house that I've ever set up indoor and outdoor, I could to this day recite to you what our safety waivers state due to the constant repetition and consistency of emphasizing the importance of safety that the customers and clientele understand. Yes, we want the kids to have and families to have fun and a wonderful time, but safety trumps all. I also believe that with having this property meant for amusement will attract more of Canyon's residents to our beautiful square and allow businesses to prosper and thrive, with more families roaming around, exploring other and new businesses, along with the chance for revenue to grow within our wonderful town. And with this, it would also bring employment opportunities to others, such as it initially did for myself. I was once a WT student that began with Mr. and Mrs. Vaught's other business, and with the time of being with them, I have grown and learned such valuable life skills of professionalism, morals, and communication. Them being able to provide employment to other members of the community, residents, and WT students, and all, I would see be a vital opportunity to other members of the a vital opportunity of success for everyone. As I understand, there have been some concern for noise and risk that my employers are willing to take for implementing noise reduction and decompressing factors. I would like to go into philosophy that the city of Canyon was founded with the ideology of the pioneer spirit, of creating a new and strengthened community with neighborly relationships, idolizing small town values, and prioritizing safety. These are all the foundational beliefs that I have seen and witnessed under the employment of Mr. and Mrs. Vaught. In closing, I ask of you today to take into consideration the approval of this rezoning agenda at 1615 4th Avenue. Thank you.
Thanks. All right, that takes us back then, Kayla and John Vaught, and however you all want to do it, if you want both the rest at the same time or what. Otherwise, Kayla, I think you were first, so.
Is there another one?
It is. Yes. McKinley, Herzberg.
Great, yes.
All right.
It's just like cheeseburger, yes. Thank you. And thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of the business. My understanding of the major concern tonight and of last night is the noise. And I also recognize that noise is subjective, and one person's noisy is not another person's noisy. As explained earlier, that there's differences in types of noise as well. I do believe it would be an overcorrection to expect a business to be silent and express no noise at all in order to fit into the space for the property right now. I recognize that the business has a major investment and commitment to noise suppression, and I believe they deserve the opportunity to implement these mitigation techniques, to test it, and to modify if necessary later. It was discussed at great detail earlier that the permit is exactly that. It is a permit and it can't be revoked. And my knowledge with the Vaught's and their business, I understand that they are respectful to their customers, to their clientele, but they're also respectful to the city. They have provided many bounce houses, many obstacle courses, many things that have been put on park property for our schools to use. And they've always taken great pains to make sure that the property is left essentially better than it was found. Extra tarps to make sure that the landscaping, the grass, it doesn't turn into mud, anything like that. There's no damage to the property. There's no trash, there's no nothing. So while I understand that may not have much to do with noise, it does signal their commitment to being respectful to the city, to its occupants, to the community. Speaking also, while there may not be many studies about indoor bounce houses, indoor noise suppression, there is history, at least in Amarillo, of an indoor trampoline park that is right up next to several other businesses, one even being a fine dining establishment. I myself have visited those surrounding businesses and never noticed any kind of noise. Never noticed any children running about, never noticed any of the other safety concerns that were expressed by the nature of children running about or having an indoor activity park. So while this may be a new business venture for Canyon residents, it may be a location that may not be desirable for, the neighbors surrounding it. That doesn't mean that it's a new venture. It's not something that hasn't been implemented in other places and hasn't been found to be successful. So I do believe the bots can demonstrate exactly what they've committed here to do, and they deserve an opportunity to give it a shot.
Thank you. Kayla Bott.
Good evening. Thank y'all for being here and listening to us tonight. My name is Kayla Vaught. I live at 23250 Hicks Drive here in Canyon. I graduated from WT. I'm a nurse. That was my real job. Love it. Passionate. You've heard safety lots and lots of times. That's what we drill into our employees. So some things that I do is I teach people how to save babies' lives, how to save grown-up lives, and I also teach with our trauma surgeons here at our Sim Central in Amarillo. So safety is huge for me, and I feel extremely confident in the fact that we can mitigate and things that come up as they come up. So there was discussion about kids running around, which firefighter guy, you're awesome. My dad's a firefighter. I love that he brought that up. That's very cool. I still go look for fire trucks when they come out. We're gonna have a front entrance point. The back where the fire station is gonna be fenced off. They won't be able to get out in the alley. At the front entrance, there will be somebody standing there, and if they see somebody, a child, opening the door without a grown-up, they're not gonna let them go out and run and see the fire truck. So we're very safe. We have somebody up front for that purpose, and running out, maybe their mom walks outside, they want to run out front. We're going to have that safety aspect out front. That is a very busy street. That is it's very busy, and I will do my absolute best to make sure that kids are safe. Kids do run around. I have a 3-year-old, I have an 11-year-old, we have a 15-year-old. They run around. So we're going to do our best with that. I'll do anything I need to help make that be comforting, but safety is huge, and we're working through that. Based on the hours on Google that I found for Mr. Kirshen's office and Hideaway, he mentioned more open hours. Saturday and Sunday are gonna be my busy days. It says he's closed on those days. Hideaway says by appointment only. The busiest times that I feel like our business will be are during hours that they're most likely not gonna be there. I can't speak for any hours that they do in the summer and so on. So I really hope that you take into consideration the hours that we are projected to be busy are hopefully not going to be overlapping with hours that they are operating at their max capacity and what they do. We talked about that. Also, the free reign for 2 years. We've already addressed it. I don't have free reign for 2 years. I can operate the business how the special use permit says that I can operate it, and if I don't do that, then I don't get to do it. So I don't think that we're going to get free reign to do whatever we want once you say yes tonight. If you do say yes, I know that we have to meet all the criteria that you set forth for us and maintain that, and if anything arises, readdress and fix that problem if new problems arise. It would be amazing to have this here in Canyon. There's nothing like this in Amarillo anymore. Like McKinley was talking about, there used to be a bounce house place there. We have so much to bring here, and I've prayed for years since 2018 to find somewhere that we could do this, and there's no better place than downtown where our kids are already walking all over the square, going in and out of these shops, not buying anything because they don't have enough money to. My daughter's one of them. We just really pray that you give us the opportunity to do this and do it right and the right way, and for everybody to be able to work together to bring this dream to life here. Thank you.
Thank you. John?
All right, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, thank you all for having us tonight. I know it's running a little long. My name is John Vaught. I live at 23250 Hicks also. I'm a police officer and a paramedic. I've served in this community for almost 17 years now. So I can assure you that safety, security, and the well-being of every citizen in this county has always been paramount for me, whether they're newborn or the long-toothed and long of age. I promise we care. I want y'all to understand that the vision we see for this business is we want to have a place for children to go to get into physical activity. I want them off their phones. I want them active. I want them socializing with others. I want them burning energy. I want them fighting diabetes and obesity and everything else that being physically active provides for us. It's a healthy environment and it's a safe environment for children. I know Kayla spoke on it just briefly about containment inside the facility. We intend to have an entry control point near the front area where there will be a fenced-in area where you can't just leisurely stroll in or stroll out. Additionally, for security-wise, I intend to either utilize UV stamps or some types of bracelets to tie children to their associated parent that brought them, so that we know if a child's leaving, they're leaving with their parent or guardian. The concerns with noise. I did a brief little study on my own with a decibel meter inside the structure that's empty. There was only space for me to set up 2 inflatables because of some of the construction equipment that's still inside of there. I was getting from 6 feet away from the 2 blowers running with 2 bounce houses inflated and my 3-year-old being unable to be quiet. I was getting decibel readings somewhere between 73 and 77 inside of the structure. So as the gentleman with the sophisticated degree that is much more versed in this than me has mentioned, I'm very confident that with our soundproofing measures, we will be well under the city's ordinance that is established that outlines the noise that can be measured at the property line of the complainant. As far as parking goes, again, I'm sensitive to parking. I want everyone to be safe. I realize we have crosswalks in this area. TxDOT's done a good job establishing crosswalks. I feel like the crosswalks are there for a reason. They provide a safe place for people to cross the road. Mentions about children being dropped off in the middle of the street, that's not something we would encourage. Number one, we don't encourage any drop-off without the parent being there with them. We want parents to stay there and help supervise the children. So we definitely would not encourage a drop-off in the middle of 4th Avenue. And I think it would be uncommon if we've seen a parent that's from this area knowingly dropping a child off on 4th Avenue. Everybody here is familiar with the busyness of that street.
Thank you, ma'am.
Lastly, I just